Hello friends and welcome back. So in this session I am going to cover the Terraform workflow. Terraform workflow. So what we have learned so far in few of the sessions of the Terraform is infrastructure as a code tool. So what does it mean? We maintain the infrastructure with the help of code. We write some scripts in the HCL format, HashiCorp configuration language format. Okay, this is one of the example of this is one of the block. Okay, so we write the different blocks for maintaining the infrastructure, and then everything we can maintain with the help of code. Okay, so that means you don't need to log into the cloud console and then do navigation between different consoles, like create the EC2 virtual machine, create your storage. Okay, so everything you can do with the help of code. Okay, so for that you have to understand the HCL HashiCorp configuration language, and then you can uh, design your code. Okay, and when we design the code, we create the multiple configuration files because we may have a multiple resources in our cloud account. So instead of writing everything in a single file, what we do, we split the configurations in the multiple file and we can make it reusable, so that once the code is designed, you can use the same code in different environment. Okay, so now the when we uh, when we execute the code, okay, for example, your code is ready, you have designed your code. Okay, then the next phase is the Terraform workflow. Okay, how we execute the code and what actually happen in each and every phase, which is very important. Okay, from the beginner's perspective as well as from the advanced user as well. Okay, so what is Terraform workflow? So Terraform workflow we can divide in 5 different sections, or you can say 5 different commands, and the commands are Terraform init, Terraform validate, Terraform plan, Terraform apply, and Terraform destroy. Okay, so this destroy is we use when it is required, based on our requirement, right? So these are the 5 different phases of a Terraform workflow. First is initialization, second is the validation, third is the plan, fourth is the apply, and fifth is the destroy. Now what is the meaning of that? Okay, so as I said, Terraform is a infrastructure as a code, and we maintain the infrastructure with the help of codes. That means we write our code, or you can say we write our scripts in the HCL format. Okay, so once our code is ready, the very first thing we run the Terraform init, that is Terraform initialize. So what is the purpose of Terraform initialize? So we know that Terraform is a cloud agnostic. It can be used to configure or manage the resources on any of the cloud service providers. Okay, like the AWS, Azure, Google, or any of the cloud service providers, right? So your Terraform has to connect with that particular cloud service provider, right? Like this is your Terraform. Okay, maybe your Terraform is installed and configured in your local machine, local laptop PC, and you are going to configure the resources in the AWS account, right? So this Terraform can connect with the AWS account with the help of connectors, which is also called the plugin, right? So every cloud service provider will have a different connectors, right? Because they have a different cloud service providers. So what happens when we run the Terraform init? Very first step, okay, it initialize your project. For example, this is my project where I am creating one EC2 instance machine. Okay, so it will download the corresponding cloud service provider connector. Okay, so it will connect to HashiCorp and it will download the corresponding connector profile. So for example, if I am going to create my resources in the AWS account and I am going to run the Terraform init, so Terraform init will connect to HashiCorp, and then from there it will download the connector or plugin file for the AWS. Okay, and how it is going to identify that I need to download the AWS? Because when we design the code, so this is the very first block. If you see here, okay, this is the very first block. So let me just clean it up. This one. So this is the very first block, Terraform block. Okay, in Terraform we have defined required providers, and in the required providers I have defined source as HashiCorp AWS. So here I have defined the AWS. Okay, so when I am going to run the Terraform init, okay, it will understand that okay, now the provider is AWS, so download the AWS plugin. So in the very first command, Terraform init, which is the first phase of your workflow, okay, it will download the corresponding CSP plugin, and with the help of this particular block, this is the first block, right? And then what will happen further in this particular code, I will come to this workflow later. Let me explain you this small file. So this is the first block which will initialize your Terraform, and it is going to download the connector. Second, you can see we have defined the provider. So in the cloud, we have to select the region, in which region we are going to create the resources, or you can say specifically the data centers. Okay, so here you can see we have defined the region AP Northeast 1, which is for the Tokyo. Okay, so this code will understand that, okay, I need to create the resources in this particular region. And then we have here a section for creating the virtual machine. So we are going to create here a virtual machine on the AWS cloud. So for that, we have to define resource type as AWS instance. So we have a different resource type. Okay, whatever the resource that we want to create. For example, if you want to create the VPC, so for that we have a resource type AWC underscore VPC. If you want to create the subnet, we have the AWS underscore subnet. Right. So this is the identifier for your machine in the Terraform. And then for creating the virtual machine, we need to specify an AMI ID. That means which particular OS will be installed in your virtual machine, which is identified by the AMI ID, and then what kind of an instance type. So we are going to configure a T2.micro, and this will be the name of your machine, which is going to display on the AWS console. So this is a very small code, okay, which will create an EC2 virtual machine on your AWS cloud. Okay, so the first phase Terraform init is going to execute this particular section where it is going to download the corresponding cloud service provider connector. Okay, then Terraform validate. So Terraform validate will just validate if the syntax is correct or not in your code. So this is the code that we have written. So Terraform validate is going to check whether the syntax is correct or not, and apart from that, it also validate the logical dependencies as well. So what does it mean? When we create the, for example, when we are creating a VPC, or when we are creating a subnet. Okay, for subnet you have a dependency on the VPC, because subnet is created inside a particular VPC. Okay, so if you are creating a subnet and VPC is not there, then you will get an error that, okay, you have not specified the dependent VPC. That means Terraform validate check for the syntax error. Along with that, it also check for the some logical errors as well. Okay, then you have to run the Terraform plan. So Terraform plan is a blueprint for apply. That means when we run the Terraform apply, it actually start executing your code to configure the resources in your environment. So that means if you run the apply, okay, it will execute your code and create or delete or update whatever you want in your code in your cloud account. But before apply, if you want to check the blueprint, if I'm going to execute the apply, what actually is going to be happen? It is going to create the resources as per my requirement, or what will happen when I will run the apply? So we run the Terraform plan. So Terraform plan is a blueprint of the apply. So before you run the apply, we run the Terraform plan just to make sure the resources that is going to be configured, it is as per the expectation that we have defined in the code. So you can run the plan. Once you review the plan, if it is good, then we run the Terraform apply. And Terraform apply actually going to configure the resources in your cloud account based on the code that you have written. Right? These are the important phases that we all will follow. Terraform init, Terraform validate, Terraform plan, and Terraform apply. You can skip validate and plan. These are you can say optional. But as a best practice, make sure to always use the Terraform validate and plan. Init you can run once your Terraform is initialized and the corresponding particular cloud service provider is done. So you can we do not run it every time because it is a one time command. But whenever you are changing your code, make sure to run the validate, plan, and then for the apply. Okay, now when your resources are created, anytime you want to destroy the resources, for that we have a command Terraform destroy. So Terraform destroy will delete all the resources that has been created with the help of Terraform apply command. Okay, so this is the workflow of your Terraform. And then we have a state file. When we run the apply, okay, there is state file is created, and this has a very great importance in the Terraform state file. Okay, so I will create a separate session for that state file. And apart from that, very soon I am going to launch a complete end-to-end course on the channel on the Terraform from beginners to advanced. Okay, with some advanced sessions with the demo. Maybe in a couple of days or a week of a time it will be released. Okay, so in between I am just uploading some sessions to have a basic understanding of the Terraform. Right. So now what I will do, I will quickly show you with the execution as well. Okay, so I will execute this particular code and I will show you like how this executed and what happened in the background when we run the Terraform init. So let me go. So this is my code. Okay, so I have created a file main.tf in my one of the folder which I am considering as my project folder, Terraform lab. And whatever the file that we create in the Terraform, it has the extension .tf. And apart from that, if we have a variable, then we use the .tf var file, right? So in this main.tf file, I have copy pasted all the code whatever I have explained to you. Okay, this is the first block which will download the corresponding plugins. This is the region where my machine will get created, and this is the code to create my machine. Okay, so let me save it. Okay, and then I will go to command prompt and I am going to run the workflow commands. So I have shown to you Terraform init first. So let me run Terraform init. Okay, so now you can see here Terraform initializing the backend, initializing the provider plugin. So that means it is downloading the AWS plugin in the backend. So you will see here a folder with a hidden folder with the name .terraform will be created. Okay, now you can see there is a folder has been created with the .terraform, and the provider will be downloaded inside this particular providers registry.terraform.io HashiCorp AWS version, and this is for Windows. So I can see this is the plugin that has been downloaded in the first command, which is a Terraform init. Let me go back here. Right, so you can say Terraform has been initialized successfully. So that means our first workflow is completed. Now second is we run the validate command, right? So this validate, as I said, is optional, but always recommended to make sure that your syntax is correct, whatever you have used in your configuration files. Okay, and once validation is completed, we will run the plan command. Okay, plan command will just show you what is the resources that is going to be configured in your environment when you are going to apply it. So validation is success. Now I will run the plan. So plan it may take some time based on the configuration of your machine and the number of resources that you are going to configure. Okay, and once it is done, let me expand it. Okay, so now you can see plan 1 to add, 0 to change, 0 to destroy. That means you are not going to delete any resources. You are not going to update any of the existing resources. You are going to add one new resources here. Okay, and what will be the one new resources? It will be a AWS instance machine, and using this particular AMI ID. Okay, and this is the instance type. So this is going to create one virtual machine. So now once you are sure that okay, this result is as per our expectations, right? Then you go for the apply to actually implement it in an environment. Okay, and when you run the apply, it will prompt you for whether you want to actually want to configure the resources, yes or no. And during the Terraform apply, you can see there is a state file has been created here, terraform.tf state file. This file is very important. This has a very great importance, and for this I will post a separate session. What is the meaning of Terraform state file? What is the importance of Terraform state file? And in the course that I am going to upload very soon, okay, there we have a detailed session with the detailed exercises, multiple exercises, okay, to give you the complete end-to-end clarity on each and every concepts of Terraform, including each and every configuration files, each and every file, what is the role of each and every file. Okay, that course will give you the complete in-depth knowledge of Terraform. Okay, so you can see now it is creating the virtual machine, and this I can show you on the console. So if I go to my AWS EC2 console, we will see the machine is in progress, or it may be completed by now. Okay, it is still creating. Okay, now you can say this is the machine that we have created, Terraform EC2, right? It is up and running now. You can see apply complete, one resource has been added. Okay, so it takes couple of seconds only to create one virtual machine. Okay, and if suppose you are going to create this virtual machine from the cloud console, then it is going to take a lot of time. You need to go to the EC2, then you have to launch the instance, then you have to provide multiple inputs, right? What is the name of your machine? What is the image AMI you want to select? What is the key pair? What is the instance type? So configuring manually, it is going to take a lot of time, right? And there could be a chance of manual mistakes. But when we do with the help of Terraform, okay, this will be a standard. Whatever you have defined in the code, only that is going to be executed. There is no chance of human mistakes here, and it will be executed within couple of seconds. And this is a benefit of Terraform.